Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 8. It is called Threat of Extinction. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, I think the first thing I'm going to say with this one is that it was an improvement over the last two episodes, which is nice to say.
It was. There's still a few things in it that I hate, though.
Yeah, no, a couple of things for sure, but this was definitely veering into more interesting plots.
Yes, plots, interesting plots laced with things that I hate in the plot itself. They're baked in.
Sure, but like, still, would you just be
Better.
positive for a second? Like,
I'm agreeing. It's better.
so, yeah, we start with a flashback. Oh, this flashback was much more interesting. Although it felt a bit goofy the way with the just the because it may be like in the past and they've got it all dressed up to be this time period. It's like what was it 18?
I thought it was like 1950 or something.
It could have been 1950.
I don't know. What am I thinking that? It wasn't 18, so was it?
Well, it's Reed's
19...
grandparents, so and they're young, so surely that has to be. It can't be
Yeah, it can't be
1950.
1950. Maybe 1930? Oh.
Maybe.
For some reason I thought 19.
Yeah. No, maybe it is 19, but it definitely wasn't 1950. That
No,
was
it
just
wasn't. I don't know why
impossible.
where I got fit. Maybe it was 1850, or I don't know anymore.
1850 seems too far back, though.
It does seem too far back.
Not that it really matters. There was a year. The point is that it was mainly at this time period. Which, by the way, I thought it was weird that it said London, England, as if people need to know where London is.
I assume it's a stylistic formatting that will follow across everything,
Sure. We'll
but
see.
I've never noticed it before.
Yeah. Like I get it if like it's not England, and even if you do like a little like sort of fade between the two words where it comes up saying London, and then a few seconds later, Germany or something, where it's not where you expect it to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind of like Paris, Texas, for example.
Yeah.
I like that movie a lot. I love that movie. Just that's the one that came to my mind. But so it's basically these terrorist siblings that we've kind of alluded to in the past, the Struckers, who later on in the episode turns out are Reed's grandparents. Reed himself was a mutant, but his father, whilst working for Trask Industries, gave him a drug to get rid of his X gene, and
Yeah.
he's normal. So that's why the kids have got powers and he doesn't.
That's the stuff I really like.
Okay.
But I really like this whole idea of going down that experimentation on the mutants in that way. The Reed's involved. He's
Yeah.
reevaluating his own life.
I like this idea that his grandparents were so goddamn evil that his father like did everything he did, and because he even says to him like, because when he finds out the powers of the kids, he's like, oh, that's the same as them. He's like, protect the world from them. Like because he's a mutant, but he's expecting the worst from them because of what his parents were like.
and that's the stuff I'm not particularly thrilled about.
You're not thrilled about the backstory, or not thrilled about what it means for the kids.
What it means for the kids, the way that Reed's father talks about them, it kind of makes them sound like Destiny, chosen one sort of plot.
It does a little bit. It depends how they could go down that path or not, because I feel like it sounds like one man's kind of rambles.
I hope it's just that,
as opposed to anything else.
Really, just that.
Because
But then there's times where the camera plays it up later in the episode.
well, there is. It plays up because it says if they held hands yet, and we find out apparently when they hold hands, they're powered like they have a combined power that.
Yes, they
does
have a white
something.
light, and everyone died.
So I don't know like exactly where we're going with that, but everything before this episode, we've talked about how it's more likely that Laura will become a hero and Andy will become a villain, right?
Yeah,
So I don't see that enough in this to think otherwise.
I agree.
So I'm still kind of on that path rather than they're going to be the children of doom and take down everything.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't know. I was digging the backstory. I was digging.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
I was digging that. I like Reed finding out that he was actually a mutant, or technically still is, kind of, depending on how you look at it. But
He carries the gene, but
he's
it's never
powerless.
going to be
Yeah.
active.
Yeah, but he passed it on to his kids. I kind of like that revelation. I almost wish we actually could have got him at the end, like actually telling everyone this. Like he's sitting them all down. Okay, right, this is going to be a hell of a story. But so, right, your great grandparents, they were mutant terrorists. They did a lot of bad things. And then, your grandfather, he worked on creating a cure for the X gene, and he gave it to me. Technically, I'm a mutant. Yeah, surprise! I didn't know either. I kind of wish I'd got the reactions to all those little bits. Whereas next episode, they're just going to know already.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
So, and I feel like some of those revelations would be good. Because I feel like this is the sort of show where it's going to be mentioned in a really awkward way, where one of them like brings it up that he's told them, and it'll be like, I'm still reeling from you telling us that our grandparents are...
See, I don't know what's worse, that, or that he hasn't actually told them, and we have to go through it. He's keeping that side of things a secret.
Oh, I hope not. The way like she got his dad was now dead, like implied to me that he was just about going to tell him everything.
That's what I thought, but there's just this show after the last few episodes has put me there where that's an actual concern now, where things that I thought were dealt with weren't.
And then the other plot that was going on in this episode, it was also mentioned that Pulse died as well in all this, because Reed's dad did still have his power, and he kind of used it to like fight back Sentinel services.
Because this is the part I really hate. Their family's special. They're all this other stuff that doesn't affect them.
Yeah, Pulse has no power over them, which I don't hate it from a mechanical point of view.
Yeah, but I hate it from again, it's this, we're the special ones sort of view.
See, that's because you're specific looking at it through that whole Destiny lens. To me, I'm just looking at it like they're just more powerful, and it's that simple. Again, he's read into it and said it's about being chosen in Destiny.
Yeah, but I don't know, because I don't think they've never seemed that powerful. They're not infinitely more powerful than any other mutant. I guess is my point here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the only way that I will actually like it is if when because obviously Reed's father was the one that kind of started all this program. He was the one doing this experimentation. No, well, I was thinking if he'd excluded his own genetic line for whatever reason, so that he would be fine if it got used against him, but then he used it on Reed. It doesn't work. I'm trying to justify it to myself, and I don't like it.
I think you're, at least at this point, you're reading too much into this. No pun intended.
That was awful.
That was great. Let me tell you about it. That was fantastic. I think like. I don't know, like, to me, the whole, we're special is just one madman's interpretation of... Okay,
I think it's just, even aside from that, I just don't like that they're more powerful than everyone else. I like that they're just two ordinary mutants caught up in all of this. I don't like this idea that they're stronger.
I don't necessarily dislike that, especially when it comes to why. For a start, is it just a simple case of their mutant gene goes back further, so it's evolved more over time, and that's why they're more powerful?
I don't know. I think it's just the idea that regardless of Destiny or not, it does elevate them above the other mutants in the group. It makes them more valuable, and I dislike that as a concept. I like when they're just at the ground level. I like where they're just part of this group, they're pitching in like everyone else, not that they're going to be the linchpin of whatever happens.
I didn't think about it as heavily as this.
I didn't think I did. I didn't think it was overly heavy.
You've basically looked for things to hate in this.
No,
that isn't really there. It's not there in the scene at all. You've went looking for the stuff to hate.
See, I don't feel like I have.
You kind of have. You're assuming a lot of things here.
No, like I said, ignore any of the Destiny. What we know is this family, their powers are not affected by this stuff.
What stuff? No, they're not affected by one mutant's power.
Right, but presumably that applies to all of this then.
All of what? What are they not? What are they immune to? I don't understand what you're talking about. They're immune to Pulse's power. That's it. That's all we know so far.
But it's not just going to be Pulse's power, is it? Because the way the like Reed's father talks about it, he says, "No, that's not going to work on me." like the way they're hopped up on this drug doesn't affect them in the same way. Like they get through it.
What drug?
Well, they drug pulse, don't they?
What's that got to do with them being immune to something?
I thought that's what it was referring to. Maybe that one's on me.
No. All they're immune to is Pulse's power. It's got nothing to do with the drug he's on.
Oh, yeah, okay. The drug was supposed to make him stronger, so.
Well, yeah, but if his regular power does it anyway, then why does that have anything to do with him withstanding it?
Because it's making the show as even more powerful, I guess.
Honestly, the whole... Well, yeah, but the drug they're on isn't necessarily making them stronger, though, is it? Because when they were talking about that drug, that was like that's a drug that mutants can get. They didn't necessarily specify that that's the drug that they're giving them to control them.
Well, that's fair. I guess it was the way that the agent, he gave him the shot in the neck right before he used his powers.
No, I took that as they basically control them by getting them addicted to something.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe it is that drug, but I never took it makes them a bit more powerful or feel more powerful for a bit as the reason why he can do what he can do. Like, that was always his power, that he could subdue powers. So I don't know, I wasn't reading it that way.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you went... And some of this might be right, don't get me wrong. I'm not particularly fussed with the idea of this. To me, what all this did for me was... No, in terms of the rules of the show, we now have two characters who are not affected by Pulse. Admittedly, it made it completely irrelevant 2 minutes later when they killed Pulse off. Which would be where my complaint comes in. I feel like they did that to set up the idea that, when Pulse has got everyone down, they too can come in and take him out, and then it's a rule. It's like it's a weakness to Pulse, but then they took Pulse out anyway, and it's like, well, okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of irrelevant for that now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The way I'm reading this is more that there's a great potential for them to go nuts and kill lots of things, and it's more about worrying Reed and
Yeah.
Like to me, that's kind of more what it does for a character perspective. I don't necessarily see it as, they're now the best mutants ever, and they're always going to be more important than every other mutant on the show. I didn't read it that way, but I mean, maybe that's wishful thinking. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
maybe this is just the cynic in me seeing it that way.
I think it partly is. I feel like it's more about the risk of then going nuts and wanting to kill everyone than it is about...
that's definitely part of it.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that part. Hell, Andy's already kind of halfway there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they need to do a lot more to justify it when it comes to Lauren, though.
Oh, they will. Yeah, they'll have to go... Especially since she does a... She was quite good this episode. She was like helping the kid when her mother was like, fixing her bone or dislocated shoulder or whatever it was.
Yeah. Speaking of, Andy did his stupidly awful beatboxing again.
Yeah, he was beatboxing, and I'm glad it cut away. It felt like we were going to hear this whole beatbox song.
This sling song. Like, yeah. No, stop it.
But it cut to the mother, and we got a telepath now who came in with this new group of mutants, which is actually how we get to the other plot of the episode, is that they end up with one of the controlled mutants that's been set in by Sentinel Services. I say Sentinel Services, I really should say Dr. Campbell, because it's really him that's doing this part of it. But I thought that was kind of weird how they never actually got one inside successfully and had a spy for a little bit. Like, they caught the first one because a telepath was near her, which I thought was cool. In fact, how they catch, because the mutant in question who gets caught, the spy, is like a speedster, kinda. She's moving around really quick. And I kind of liked how they caught her. It was kind of an inventive use of powers, because you had Marcos with his beams kind of like blocked her in, like
trap her in, yeah.
And then Thunderbird's like, hey Blink, can you get me above her? And she makes a portal, and it just falls through the sky and like punches her.
It's really convenient that they had those three around, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the writers know whether...
I'll let them off on that one.
Who's going fine. Where, but it was that. I thought that was...
It was a nice use of bit of teamwork.
Yeah. So that's fine. The girl dies, but they get some sort of like, they get a location out of her with a telepath and some various things.
It really threw me off what I knew her from for ages. It's because the hair was different.
What's she from?
She's Scream Queens. She was Grace in the first season.
Who?
Telepath.
Oh, telepath. All right. Yeah. I thought you meant the one they kidnapped, and I went, No, she's a different race. What are you talking about? Grace wasn't Asian. I thought you were going demented there for a second. Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah. That would have been weird, wouldn't it?
I didn't even get an inkling that I'd recognise her from something.
It was a voice that I recognised.
I didn't even. I like the effect though when she's using her telepath powers. Their eyes go all kind of blue.
The
I like that.
purple ring.
I like that. That was fine.
Yeah, that was nice.
So it was a better episode. It did have some rough things though that I wasn't particularly fond of. I didn't mind. Like I kind of liked. See, here's the thing. So at the end of the episode or towards the end of the episode, Blink goes to what's her face, Dreamer, for help because the young kid they've got who witnessed the murder of the parents, like she's like tore up, but she's broken. So she goes to her for help and says, "Hey, I can't deal with this problem, but you can. You can take that awful memory away from her and let her, heal and let her grow." And I thought that on its own was fine. I thought that's all you needed was her going to ask for help. That did everything you needed from that plotline. Of course, though, that's not all we got. Earlier in the episode, we had to have the really awkward kind of confrontation where Dreamer tries to like, "Hey, are we good?" And she's like, "No, we're not good. I'm only here because we're on the same side, but we're not friends."
Yeah.
That entire
I'd
scene.
preferred them just to ignore each other until one of them needed help.
That scene bugged me, and it bugged me even more in retrospect when it got to that scene at the end, because I'm like, you didn't need the setup for that. You could have just had her come ask for help, and it would have felt like a thing because, they've been in a weird place ever since, the whole fake memory thing.
Also, just a question, I thought Dreamer's memories faded. I thought that was kind of the whole thing. Like, these memories kind of...
Do they always fade?
I don't know. I thought maybe they don't. I think her.
Okay, how does that apply though to her taking one away though?
Yeah, that's why I was going to question. I was like, would it not come back? I don't know.
Well, does JC's daughter memory came back yet? I don't think so.
No, that's true.
Not that we saw him this episode, but
no, we didn't actually, did we? Is this the first episode we haven't?
I think so. And by the way, I've been like accidentally calling him Chase a lot instead of Jace, and now on Runaways there's a character called Chase, so this is getting bad. Like
yeah, this is gonna go wrong soon, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so whatever, but like it's the thing. So no, still some clunky dialogue in places though that was kind of bugging me.
The conversation between the telepath and the mother.
You mean Kate?
Kate, yeah. The name blanked on me. But yeah, that conversation of you're worried about this. It took all this subtext and made it text, and it didn't need to be.
Yeah, it was spelling things out. There was a lot of dialogue that was doing that, and it's done it the whole show, but it was really bad at some points in this episode.
Yeah.
Where it feels like at one point when Reed did decide, okay, we're going to see my dad because he worked with Strucker Industries for 30 years, and Kate. Sorry?
Trask Industries.
What did I say?
Strucker's his name.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Trask, yeah. Oh, that's what I meant to say. Slip of the tongue. And Kate is like, "Hey, you sure don't want me to come with you? Because I know this is going to be really hard because you're not seeing your father for 30... And I'm like, oh, can we really... Like, you're just spelling out everything we already know. That's all you're doing in these lines of dialogue, and it just irritates me.
It's one of those things where you can point and go, yep, this is network TV.
And some network TV overcomes it, of course, but it just feels really network TV thing to do. It's funny actually because last week we said, we'll stick it out to the end of the season because it's only a few episodes left, and then we found out, someone in the comments noted out that it was actually 13 episodes this season, not 10. And then we went, but okay, so what do we do now? Do we give it a couple more? Do we do this? Do we do that? And honestly, we came into this one thinking, okay, we'll give it this one and see how we feel. We might drop it after this one. But it was better. Like it was absolutely better.
It still has some of the same problems that we've been talking about the last few, but they weren't there as much because we had a lot of the runtime instead of doing, just these pointless things that I've felt for the last couple of episodes.
Like the plots, both the A and the B plot felt they were doing things that were important.
Yeah, exactly. It was only these extra little side bits here or there that were the real problems.
Yeah, I mean, Marcos and Lorna fighting was...
I could do without that.
I mean, it made some amount of sense, but it was just kind of...
This is one of those where it looks like I go, okay, well, you've got to do that because it's the only logical outcome to what happened, but it's not really interesting.
I like when she brought up that she saw him and it's like, oh, you looked really happy, like, burning the stuff, and I'm like, okay, that was a really good point to bring up. And it never really gets resolved at the end. Things are just kind of sad because the girl dies, so they just kind of start hugging and they're fine, kinda, from that point.
Yeah. It never really gets to. Oh, I'm not happy doing it.
Yeah, he never even denies it. He's just kind of like, yeah,
It's like, yeah, it was fun.
yeah, I had a great time. Yeah. Still,
Yeah.
I did it for you. Stop complaining.
Yeah, I burn these people for you. I mean, for me too, it's fun, but I'm burning them for you.
Dear. I think one of the things that Runaways has going for it that this, arguably still doesn't, is that some of the characters feel a bit two dimensional in this.
I think a lot of the characters I still go, oh hey, it's the one with that power.
Yeah, yeah.
And every episode they're introducing new people. Like, okay, so we got a telepath now.
She's a
I know her
telepath.
name, but I couldn't tell you anything about her.
I want to say Esme.
It was, yeah, but I couldn't tell you anything about her as a character other than she's a telepath.
Well,
Not one thing.
let's look at some of the other characters then. Dreamer. She has a power that alters memories. She likes Johnny. She's willing to lie about using her power to help Johnny.
But that's still just an extension of liking him.
Johnny,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything about her as a character, really.
In a weird way, Andy's one of the most developed characters because he's got this anger and he's got this rage in him. He's just
Yeah,
really
and it's
bad
got
at
this
it.
stupid beatboxing thing.
Do you know the thing about the beatboxing is that you can really just see the writers' room in your head where they're going, "Oh, we want him to have a quirky thing. Like, what's his thing? What does he do? That's his little joke thing." You go, "What if he beatboxes?" And I'm like, "Oh, shut up, writers. What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah. See, it's that, or the kid just started doing it on set one day, and they were like, "Yeah, go on then."
Give him a yo-yo. Let him play with a yo-yo or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But, no,
beatboxing.
but you're right when you talk about the other characters. A lot outside of the family, and then the couple of main ones.
Yeah, I think Pluralis has a character. Marcos has a character for sure. Uh, Johnny's maybe a little bit more.
I mean, he's a bit on the bland side.
He's
I
bland, but
mean,
it's kind of there.
I mean, what can I tell you about him? He's dedicated.
He's kind of a natural leader. He
Yeah.
cares about people.
Yeah,
If anything, he feels really thin because he's too perfect.
it does. I'm just trying to think what's wrong with him. What's his flaw? Like you talk about Marcus and Polaris. You can see okay, there's flaws with
Yeah,
those.
because
They're
Polaris
not
has
perfect.
got an attitude. She's kind of a bitch to everyone. That's kind of her. Just in
Yeah.
terms of characteristics, that's kind of her flaw, and she has a bit of a temper. Marcos has a bit of a dark past. As much as we don't like that past story very much,
Yeah,
but
yeah, but it is something there. And
Yeah.
we see that he actually really enjoys using his power and being destructive, but he
Yeah,
keeps
yeah.
that in check when he for the most part. That's something. Blink's got quite a bit going on, to be fair to her.
yeah, yeah.
It's just when you get under that rung where you go, okay,
I think
I've seen you around, but I don't know who you are.
most of the ones we've said though are relatively thin. I have to
They
admit.
are
Like,
quite thin, aren't they?
I feel like
I mean, to be fair, even someone like I think Reed's had quite a bit of development, but I think Kate hasn't had much since that second episode.
yeah, yeah.
Like since they had since she had her moment of going, okay, we need to stay and help, and learning that. I don't think she's had anything since then, really, not anything constructive.
That's fair. So how are you feeling? Like, do we want to what do we want to do here? Do we want to finish the season? Do we want to maybe give it a couple more to feel it out?
Yeah, I mean, this was better, but was it better enough?
That's a good question because it definitely was better. Like, and I think I was a bit more positive than you were. But at the same time, it was still kind of a tedious watch.
It's an incremental increase upon what we had for the last couple of weeks, but it's not as good as what it was.
I think what worries me though is that it's not like when it was better, it was that much better either. It's kind of like I think the hope for the first 4 episodes would be that it's kind of a bit shaky, but hopefully it finds its footing as it goes and it gets better. But instead, after that, it got worse, and it's upticked a little bit here, but it's like, okay, so this is the range of quality we've got in the show. Basically,
Yeah,
it's kind of how I
do you know,
feel.
it's kind of done on me. I think what the problem is here, we're saying, oh, these things were better. They were, but they were better just because it was just doing a plot. It didn't have time to do any of the actual stuff that was bothering us. When it's doing the plot, it's like, okay, the plot's fine. It's it's the actual character interactions that are the problem, and the problem is that should be what I'm caring about most.
Yeah, on a TV show, that's kind of the thing that
Yeah.
we should have. So, given that it's 3 more episodes than we're anticipating, and it would help out the schedule to take it away, I think we're going to call it. I think we're going to call it. And, we gave it 8 episodes. That's a pretty good chance to show us what it can do. And obviously, if it gets to season 2 and we hear season 2 is like, oh no, it's now the best thing ever. Sure, we can catch up and we'll jump back in. But at this point right now, it's at the point where like. I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I guess it's time to watch Gifted. Like, over the last three weeks or so, it's kind of like got to that point where I'm not, like,
Yeah, I'm definitely not looking
optimistic.
forward to it.
So, yeah. And like I say, last week we did say we'd finish out the season. That's when I thought it was 10 episodes. Now that I know it's 13 and it's like, running all the way into like mid-December, I'm like, nah, you know what?
Yeah, it's funny because we just kind of started talking about the same sort of thing with Punisher, where we're like, okay, well, it's got one more to win us over,
Yeah, yeah.
and similar problems with the pacing. In the sense that I feel like those last few episodes, I feel like nothing's actually really progressed much.
I wouldn't say it's the same problem with the pacing, and I say that because they both have this problem with where they have to spell things out, but they do it in very different ways. Punisher does it in a sort of paint drying kind of way. It's very factual about like it just tells you what it's doing, whereas this it's more like a baby rattle explanation.
Yeah, yeah,
If that makes any sense, it probably doesn't. So yeah, it's kind of weird that we're probably dropping 2 Marvel shows at the same time. That said, Runaways on Hulu, first episode I quite liked. I've got high hopes for that show.
yeah. We
I'm into it so far.
you lose some, so some take its place. That's how the schedule's always full. There's never any concern about that.
Yeah, the schedule is always full. I feel like we used to have downtimes, but since we added doing like we do Star Trek every week, an old show. We do a movie review. Like, I feel like ever since we did that, the schedule's never quiet, but that's okay. Netflix and Amazon like to keep us busy, especially Netflix. So yeah, so this is the last one. This is our last Gifted review. So if that sucks, it's a shame. But the funny thing is that I think that as a whole, our viewers of these reviews feel the same way because the numbers that we're getting on these have also been declining steadily as we've went through the season.
If you're still watching this and you watch out the rest of it and you think it's got a lot better, like if it does dramatically improve from what these last few have been, let us know. We like we said, we might go back in the future and give it another shot, but we need to be told that it's better.
Yeah, so I guess that's that. So that has been episode 8, which is going to be our final Gifted review. I think we're just throwing in the towel. We can't waste as much time anymore, and ultimately there's other things that can get better conversation going. And even if they're worse, like sometimes really bad things can be funny to talk about when they're bad. This is not in that realm. This is just kind of in this middle mediocre kind of place. So yeah, so let us know what you think of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there, but otherwise that is us. So thank you very much for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?